Ready? Foolish boy. Come closer. I'll tell you a secret. You're in the real world now. Good luck. Focus. Learn. You don't have an algorithm for what I'm going to do to you later. Your death is my mission. Nothing more. One by one, they all fall down. It'll be quick, like falling asleep. See you all soon.
Hey y'all, hope you liked that little intro. Today's going to be part 2 of my detailed hero overviews where I'll be covering Kallari, her strengths and weaknesses, some good strategies to use with her, as well as some good build options. My first video in the series covering Wraith is by far my most popular video on my channel, so I just wanted to quickly say thanks to everyone that showed my channel some love. It really does go a long way, but I don't want to waste too much time, so let's get right into it. Kallari was a similar story to Wraith in my journey to getting good. I played her a couple times, but thought she was hot garbage and needed a buff because I was using her like I did in Paragon with a crit build. But just like Wraith, it turned out I was suffering from a chronic skill issue because in the right hands, she's the scariest fucking thing you'll ever encounter in this game. Having a good Kallari on your team is like,
wanna see me killed, Murdoch? You wanna see me do it again?
While having to play against her is like going to the plains in Valheim where you have to swat away the mosquitoes, but if they so much as touch you, you're dead, pal. Before we get into the gameplay tips, we're going to start by quickly taking a look at her kit so you know how to best use her abilities and take advantage of her playstyle. So going into practice mode, we'll start off with her passive Shadow Dance. This ability is pretty straightforward. Basically, you just get to double jump in whatever direction you're currently moving in. You can also change the direction mid-jump to set up for some truly nasty ankle breaking situations. Don't let this passive simplicity fool you though. This is arguably the best quote-unquote movement ability in the game, both because it comes as a passive and because it has so much utility. The double jump is amazing because as Kallari, you need to get in, kill your target, and get out before the enemy even realizes what's going on. If you don't, well, you're typically going to be in for a bad time. You'll mostly be using this to navigate different verticality shortcuts all around the map, both to get to lane quicker and to help you escape after angering their entire team into chasing you across the map 3 times. Then moving on to Kallari's primary ability, Crippling Dagger. This will typically be your main source of burst damage and the ability you'll want to max out first. Kallari can hold up to 2 daggers, each having their own consecutive cooldowns, and can throw them up to about the same distance as a ranged hero's auto attack, and they'll also slow your opponent for a split second. I'm not gonna lie, they can be pretty hard to land sometimes, so you need to have pretty good aim if the target is farther away, but just like with anything, practice makes perfect, so just keep at it and you'll catch on. In order to maximize your damage with the daggers, your ideal opening combo will be an auto attack, then throw one of the daggers, auto attack again, and then throw another dagger. The daggers will animation cancel, so when you get the timing down, you can deal some very serious burst damage in a short period of time, and this is before incorporating her other abilities, which I'm about to get into. Next up, we have Kallari's primary ability, Shadow Walk. Once activated, after a short delay, Kallari will turn invisible and gain a percent-based increase in health regen, additional movement speed, as well as empowering her next basic attack while cloaked. Just like Wraith, there's a small AoE circle around you once you go invis, and the enemy heroes can see you if you get within that AoE. Kallari's loud-ass mouth breathing also becomes close enough for them to hear, so once they're inside that little circle, your mouth breathing needs to quickly become the least of their concerns. Your upgrade path for this will basically depend on how long you want to be invisible for, although the extra health regen can help a lot with sustain just by popping the invis and regenerating in between jungle camps. One last thing about this ability is it can also be animation cancelled, meaning you can use it to chain your combo for additional quick burst damage. I'll show you the ideal combo at the end of her ability overview. Moving on to Kallari's secondary ability, Death Mark. Upon activating, Kallari's next source of damage within the next 5 seconds to enemy heroes or jungle minions specifically will mark them with 2 daggers above their head. Marked enemies will take an additional 10% damage for 3 seconds while the mark is active. After 3 seconds, the mark will detonate, dealing a small amount of true damage, but this damage increases the lower your target's health is. Then you also get a short boost of high but quickly decaying movement speed. You can probably see at this point how her kit is all starting to tie together. Ideally, you'll go invis right outside a jungle fog wall, go into lane invisible, and catch the enemy off guard by moving straight at them so they don't have time to react to the short window in which they can see you. You'll start off by activating your secondary death mark ability just before landing your empowered basic attack. Then right after landing it and marking them, you'll dagger once, auto attack again, and then dagger once more. This combo will nearly kill any squishy ADC / mid type hero and take most of the tankier heroes down to about half health, which is going to be a good segue into her last ability. Guillotine is Kallari's ultimate and highest damage dealing ability. Upon activating, Kallari will make one very long leap in whatever direction she's facing, dealing damage to anything she passes through in a straight line. It's important to note that this is a directional leap and will follow wherever you're aiming. So if you aim up into the sky, even though the ability preview stays on the ground, you're going to be joining the astronauts on the ISS once activated. This is ideally, in my opinion, used as a good opening engagement tool because it has very long range and they'll have no time to react by me entering their vision zone since it's a near instant dash once activated. It also starts off with your highest damaging ability, so if you activate your mark before using Guillotine, just make sure you don't pass through anyone else before getting to your target or it's going to mark them first. Then just execute the same auto attack, dagger combo I mentioned earlier, and as long as you're not behind your opponent on farm, this will almost always be enough to delete any squishy hero. Here's an example of what both ideal engagements would look like with and without using an ult. I will explain the benefits of not opening with the ult in just a sec. As you can see, lots of damage in a very short period of time. Also notice how I was consistently moving around even in practice mode. It's a habit for me because you never ever want to stand still even for a split second as Kallari. Reason being is you're basically the squishiest hero in the game. She has the lowest armor and health scaling of any hero, and basically all they have to do is sneeze on you and you're dead. Your single biggest responsibility as a Kallari is to take out the enemy's ADC or mid laner in fights as soon as possible. If you try and do much else, you're going to be in for a bad time. Kallari is the very definition of a glass cannon, so getting in and getting out is your only chance of success with this hero. There's no situation where you want to be engaging in a prolonged team fight. Target prioritization also might be the most important part to understand and play around as a Kallari. 100% of the time, you always focus the easiest to kill person on their team. Prioritize a specific, high-value target, which is 99% of the time going to be their ADC or mid lane. If you immediately take them out of the fight, they're in a significant disadvantage, letting the rest of your team clean up. This is why knowing when to use your ultimate is important, because you can also use it defensively to leap and create distance or go over a wall they can't follow you over. You'll notice quickly if you're being annoying enough that the enemy will literally sometimes chase you across the entire map to try and kill you, and staying alive needs to be at the very top of your priority list. Anytime you spend respawning is time not spent farming, and while not impossible, Kallari is very feast or famine, meaning if you're behind on levels in gold, it's going to be significantly harder to come back from. I think Kallari is really slept on because most people complain when they see me pick her because she's bad late game, or Kallari's useless. From my chair, all I see is I played her like 3 times and I got rolled because I didn't know what I was doing. Her utility, which is to simply delete people, never falls off even until the late game. She can delete your ADC at any point in the game, given the same skill and power level. To be fair, it does become more dangerous to do late game if they have heroes with CC that can lock you down though, so your margin of error does become a lot smaller. But again, practice and knowing how to effectively use your hero makes the biggest difference in games. Predecessor is in a very balanced state overall, and there's no clearly better hero than another. There are certainly heroes with the larger skill ceilings than others though, and Kallari is very high on that list. Typically, these heroes require lots of practice before you get the hang of them. One last tip to help you succeed more is always be proactive with dewarding. These are arguably your biggest counter, as getting a heads up that you're about to gank will make your job almost impossible. Always pick a sentry ward as Kallari, and when you're walking around, if you see a little eyeball pop up when you're invisible, it means the enemy has a ward there. Simply pop your sentry ward and destroy it. You can also take advantage of Kallari's double jump to travel on some lesser warded areas and sneak up on them easier, but again, this takes lots of experience to know where people ward and how to get around them. For builds, there's a surprising amount of variables when building Kallari that could work. Your traditional build will start off with Malady, which is basically a requirement, otherwise your camp clear is just garbage. Having Malady means you'll spend less time farming and more time at the all-you-can-eat laning buffet, so this is an essential first pickup. After that, you can go Painweaver, but honestly I find there to be better items, so my build will typically look something like this if I don't need anti-heal, and usually I'd switch out the Perforator for Tainted Blade if I do need it. Omen is good for your non-ultimate engaging combos, especially when paired with Envy. You'll start off by taking a huge chunk of their health with your Invis empowered auto, and usually you don't even have to ult so you can then save it. Again though, you could use Painweaver and the Perforator in replacement of those two if you don't like them as much. I really like Vanquisher on her as well because it just helps secure the kill easier. I've had way too many people get away with a sliver of their health bar left. It got annoying to the point where I've been building it second or third item and I've been finding a lot of success, so just throwing it out there. As for the crest, the only one that really makes sense on Kallari is Nex. This will just increase your already crazy burst damage, and I basically use it as a failsafe in case my combo doesn't delete them. Basically, you just use your combo and Nex on top of them, and if that doesn't kill them, you had to have missed just about everything. So that just about covers this hero overview. If I missed anything, please do let me know, as well as which hero you'd like me to cover next. Any feedback goes a long way in helping me improve my content, and any support, as always, is very much appreciated. All the footage you saw in the background was taken straight from my live streams. I'd love to have you if you want to check these out. A link and schedule is in the description. Until next time, good luck on the battlefield.